Hi. Were you like, where is she? Dana, are you there now?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Thank you.
I can. Were you having troubles getting on or?
No, I thought, well, I got on and then I was like, am I lost? Why am I the only one here? So I went back.
I
and
know,
checked my
because
mail.
Laurel's always on time.
Always on time. Oh, how's it going today? What?
I don't know. I just hosted a big meeting with like 50 people in it. And
Yeah.
I don't like, my gut feeling is it maybe didn't go that well. So I don't like that. Although I
What
think
what makes your gut lean that way?
I don't know, you can just well, I had some technology problems. So that's always embarrassing or not cool. And I think I probably, because I had technology problems, I was flustered.
Yeah. Then you
and
lose your train of
then-
thought.
Yeah, and then I broke into groups, and I've got this guy who I kind of adore, but he drives me fucking crazy. And he's on, it's like a working group of 8 people. So we were co-hosting this meeting, and we broke into 4 groups after, like we had a half an hour intro, and then we broke into 4 groups. So super interactive, and he was my co-facilitator, and we'd done all of this planning. To be fair, he's been on paternity leave, and I think he's got like a screaming newborn that never sleeps. So like he looks like he like just crawled out of a cave, basically. Like he's got this like
Poor guy.
this, like he totally would fit in Portland in terms of like he's got this big hairy beard and like crazy hair and stuff. And he looks completely sleep deprived. So he like shows up like, and he's very enthusiastic. But then everything that we'd prepared for, and you know, any good meeting, Astrid knows this, like to have a good hour and a half meeting, you have like, you know, at least 5-6 hours of preparation, right? Like getting everybody on the board. So I just ran this meeting for like 45 people, Astrid, and my gut is telling me it didn't go that well. And so he gets into the small group, and I'm there. I mixed people up, so it's people who don't really know each other that well. And then he proceeds to like spend the first couple of the meetings like questioning the questions that we're answering in the group. And I'm like, I like kind of made a joke. I was like, dude, you're the co-facilitator. Like, you know, like get on board. And people know me enough that they just, you know, everybody kind of laughed. I was like, so let's get back on track. And then like his newborn was crying and spitting.
This is a co-facilitator?
This is one of my co-facilitators. So it was like,
Christ.
I mean, just for a small this was not like we're doing this for somebody else. It was just an internal meeting, but I don't know. I do have to kind of brag on myself. Like when I organize a meeting, people generally show up because it tends to be a little bit different. But this was like too different to have like the spit up newborn on the hairy bearded paternity leave guy.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like,
And I had
run a comb through your hair, God damn it.
Exactly. I had 2 of my most senior reproductive health people I've known and worked with for like 20 years. One's like a very leading neonatologist, super humble, and I've worked with him in the field, but like our leading neonatologist and our leading obstetrician were in the group, which is kind of fine because they've seen a lot of babies spit up, obviously, when they're in their profession. But it was a little bit like, so I don't know if it was like technology problems and then my co-facilitator, but I like left the meeting feeling like I'm not sure that went that well.
I don't know if that's on you though. I mean, I think
what didn't go well about it?
Well,
I don't know. I just had the gut feeling, Astrid. You know how that gut feeling is, right?
Like people, like what? Like it was silence or?
Yeah, silence or
maybe they all felt super awkward for him because his baby was wailing.
Yeah, people were tired.
Maybe
I also had
women's
like one of
boobs
the
were
more
starting to hurt.
like
Somebody
more
was lactating.
pessimistic women in my group who,
Oh, shit.
I don't know. It was what it was. I like, usually I come out of that kind of a meeting feeling like, yes. Right?
Yeah.
And then immediately I went in and I'm going to another 2-hour meeting tomorrow. And I got the agenda for it. And it's like death by PowerPoint
Ooh.
for a group of people that have some like serious tension and shit to work out. So now I'm like scrambling with my team. Like, what do I do to salvage this
Mm.
meeting that's at 8:30 tomorrow morning? I don't know. The team, every time I work with this team, they're like the epitome of white supremacy culture. If you've read that, the characteristics of white supremacy culture, like conflict avoidant, polite, fill up all the space with PowerPoints and speaking at you. And then like, any comments? Oh, sorry, we're out of time. We have to stay on time. It's just like, oh my God.
Wow.
So
I'm working very hard.
sorry,
to
I
learn
don't I
some-
don't always talk about work things, but just like,
No, but you
That's
know
how I
what?
am
Like
right now.
I kind of want to be in a peer group with you, Laurel, because it is so hard to imagine like anti-oppressive business practices
oh,
in environments where, I mean, some people just blithely embody white supremacist culture, right?
oh God.
You
Yeah.
never even question it, right? And this is the thing that really stumps me is all my Black and brown colleagues who carry so much embodied oppression,
Yeah.
they trip over this shit too, right? And so then you're sitting there going, huh, how are we gonna run this thing? How are we gonna run this ship?
Yeah. And it doesn't, I mean, it's not clearly down. Some of the dynamics aren't down race lines. Actually, as I was kind of saying, like this white supremacy culture, then I'm kind of like, well, okay, well, my messy group meeting, maybe that wasn't so bad, right? Like that's how we were working on mural and I don't know. I hope it went better than I think it did.
These are people you regularly meet with on Zoom, though?
No, the other thing that's unique about the meetings that I run or design is I always try to bring together a real cross section, like across the agency and up and down. So a lot of the people didn't know each other. And I kind of assume, if you kind of if you put people in a small group, we all do the same work, right? We're all part of, not the same work, but we're all part of Save the Children. We've got enough references for where we, our organization and culture, put them in a small group. I always assume that trust is going to be relatively high, but I'm not sure that's the right assumption. That's me.
When you say trust, what do you mean trust being able to speak freely?
Yeah. And also less formally, like not being, you know how sometimes when you're in a meeting, and I do this too, like you're speaking to look smart or you're speaking to make a point.
Oh, I hear that all the fucking time at
Right.
the museum.
Right. Yeah. And there's a time and a place for that. But or maybe there's not a time and a place for that, but anyway, that's not what I wanted from my meeting. So I put people in small groups. I had them in a mural. I don't know. Again, it's just like that gut sense. I mean, I've been facilitating meetings for 20 plus years, right? You just have that sense of.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Do you do any sort of trust building kind of icebreaker type stuff?
We probably should have. That's what I'm doing for my meeting tomorrow with the white supremacy culture people. I'm like, okay, half an hour, we're doing ice breaking, relationship building stuff. Cause I was like, I'm coming in. I don't trust you guys. And I don't really even like you. And we have to work together.
How do you do that? So if you're going to do that, like ice breaking trust thing with people that you've not met before over Zoom, which is kind of weird. How do you do that? What kind of?
I've met the people before. We have to work on this project together. So, well, this is where I was emergency called somebody. It was like, what do I do? Like, that was what I was doing. The reason I was late, because I was like, help, I need a trust building icebreaker for the white supremacy culture people. So
Yeah, there's a number of ways you can do that. I mean, there's some really good opening questions, like where you have people introduce themselves with just their name, their affiliation, bonus points if you can know what occupied lands you're on.
Mhm.
And then like your personal weather forecast,
Mhm.
like what's your weather like today? Because
Yep.
people can share either obliquely or explicitly. I just had great news. It's bright sunshine, even though it's kind of overcast over here in
Right.
Portland, right?
Right.
And it gets them leaning into their humanity a bit.
Yeah. I think we're going to do my colleague Britt, who's wonderful. She says, let's do the best of us. Each team member shares, you get the best of me when, you get the worst of me when, you can count on me too. And then we want to do maybe one fun fact type of thing. And, to kind of be, I don't know, what's the last picture you took on your phone? What's a unique hobby you have? What's something on your desk that is funny, or one of them.
Oh, that's a great one. We did forget in what setting we did the what's on your desk.
That
was a really good one too. Yeah, just grab something on your desk and why is it on your desk?
And show
it. More often than not, it allows me to pull out my emergency clown nose.
Oh, this one. Okay. This one. Okay?
You know what? Your videos are frozen for me, so I can't see you. It's really funny. Like my own video is frozen, but clearly you can hear me and see me.
Oh man, I can hear and see you, but I was having that problem all day yesterday.
Can you hear and see me? Am I?
I can hear and see you.
Hear you, but you're frozen. Like both, like all three videos are frozen.
Oh, there goes Dana.
There goes Dana.
Dana tried to press something.
She pressed them. See, well, if you can see my emergency clown nose, I can still put it on.
There we go.
Right.
There we go.
It's a good look.
It is a good look. I don't really have anything on my desk that's that good. I do have
emergency clown nose is good, and then I have this paperweight that says, "What would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?" And then the other side is just a question mark. These are all really good conversation starters.
I have my little cell phone holder that Kate Redmond made.
I've got one of those too.
That I have my cell phone on.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, I have a tiny desk. My desk is like this big. And for some reason, I also have a tin lunchbox that is a
I love it.
It is for holding traditional herbal medicine that you use during your pregnancy.
Okay.
That's a little cool, but why not?
I just like it, and that's my recycling box. That's where I put things to recycle.
I was just gonna show this thing, but I don't know if anybody saw that.
Fuck off! I'm reading
at all. Gosh damn it!
I know.
I'm so ticked off.
Do you?
Maybe it was me.
I'm gonna I'm gonna leave.
You're gonna leave and come back?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. What is that, like a little
it's just a little zippy pouch that I carry my, I've got some specific, like I'm drawing on gold today, so I'm using a white chalk pencil because then I can just wipe it off.
Wait, you're using it on canvases?
Yeah, I'm using it on, I'm doing some gold painting, and then I'm going to stitch, and if I want to get the straight line, it's dry canvas, I just draw across it with a white piece of chalk pencil, and then once I've done stitching, you can just brush it off. And then it looks neater than it would if I just went crazy.
And you get to the end of your stitching, you're like, oh,
it's like this.
Wait, can you see us now, Astrid?
I can. Yeah. We're all moving again. I could see you were just frozen.
Oh God, I hate when I freeze and I'm like, and then you're like, do I actually look like that? That's what was happening to me yesterday.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'm having a day that totally sucks because I had to be up at 6 a.m. for a call with Europe. And then I have to stay up until 10 p.m. for a call with South Africa.
I hate those days. And then you're kind of like, do I take a nap in between?
I know. I'm definitely going to take a nap after this, friends.
Yeah. Wow.
You are a napper, huh?
I am a napper. Yeah, one of
Big-
my midlife innovations, I guess, along with gluten intolerance.
See, I
and the
told you
dairy thing.
you were going to discover all kinds of shit this decade.
Well, if you're still,
Napping.
are you still getting in your long lunch hour walk kind of
Yes,
thing?
well, ish. I mean, not today, but I'm gonna take some time off after this, and then put in a couple more hours at night.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So tell us about what you're working on with Dana.
Well, I've got this, let's see, I don't know if you can, I've got this, oh shit, let's knock everything off my table. I've got, you can see that black canvas on the floor there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got a coat of diamond jet. It's like a super hard coat. And then I've got this piece of gold work that I'm doing here. And then I got
Is that paper or fabric, that gold
their
work?
canvas. And then there's
They're
another one
canvas.
that's over here that's a slightly different shade of gold. And then I'm mixing up this color that I'm not really sure I'm happy with. It came out kind of teal. You can't really see that, but it's this paint is the shit. So yeah, I'm just doing multiple things at one time. Like I'll do something and then I'll let it dry and then I'll do something else and then it's drying and then I'm going on to something else and it's drying and then I circle back around to what I was doing first. And then it's great when I get
And
this time
you're
where I
not
get-
straying far from teal and gold, huh?
Well, I'm working with that black to see how that's going to go. And then I've got, I have some different shades that I'm working with, but I just bought this whole new, I mean, that's a gallon of gold paint. It's expensive, so I'm going to have to keep going. Yeah. Yeah. It's great though, because they custom make that paint for you when you order it. So it's not old.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, they make it, they ship it to you, and then it's
And then
fresh
it
as
lasts.
It lasts for about a year. I'm down at the bottom. I've got maybe a couple of cups left in my other one, but I can already tell that the quality of gold has tarnished slightly. It's interesting how it ages. I've noticed that going from the first one that I did that's in my living room to the second one to the third one. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Is that because they're in the sun or they just fade over time?
I think that I don't know exactly what their recipe is because it's top secret, but they must add something to it. And I'm wondering if it's not like a little bit of copper, because the copper changes much more than, I mean, gold is going to stay gold, right?
Right.
But if you're mixing it with something else, and that's kind of what I wonder, but I don't mind. It's good paint. Jacquard, if you ever want any kind of really good quality metallic paint for painting on, like if you want to paint a pair of Converse, a shiny metallic color, go with the Jacquard's Lumiere, because it's the best, hands down. You can get it at Artisan Craftsman Supply on 21st.
This loving kindness meditation brought to you by
Exactly.
Lumiere and Jacquard paint.
Get a little
Supplied by
commission.
Artisan Craftsman. Yeah, that's all it is. It's a bunch of gold paint and a banana.
That's very Andy Warhol of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is the banana modeling
lunch.
for you or are you eating it?
I'm gonna consume it pretty soon. I was listening to on YouTube, the curators of the British Museum just did an introduction into the world of Stonehenge, which was very interesting. I was excited that I knew what all the objects were that they were talking about. And I got my book that I ordered from the exhibition, so that made me really, really happy. So I've only done that twice with museum exhibitions for books that I really wanted. And one was something that was at the Hermitage years ago, and now this one. And I mean, realistically, the book's going to sell out. And I seriously, I'm like, there's less than a 1% chance that I'm going to get on a plane and fly to London before July the 17th. So I might as well own the book. But the lecture was really, really interesting just because they went over a lot of the objects that were there. So, and I got
Was
to
it
see how
something
they
that
set
was
them up.
relatively recently posted or?
Yeah. just within the last 48 hours, I think. And then there's
Mhm.
another one that's coming up. There's a whole, whenever they have big exhibitions like this one, they're going to have lots of lectures and talks. And so I'm going to watch as many of them as I can, just because it's interesting to me anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure Peter thinks it's boring as shit if I talk to him about it all the time. He just tunes me out. He's just like, well,
Yeah, but he's like engaged enough that he can actually probably come in with a like more than a yes, dear, but like actually something that like
maybe. I was showing him before I left today. He got a bunch of stone from this guy up in Seattle who was selling he's basically a sculptor who's retiring. I didn't know that you did that if you were an
Mhm.
artist, but I guess if you're a sculptor, you do. But he had a bunch of stone that he was auctioning off, and Peter got some of it. Kevin brought it down from Seattle. And I was showing him before I left. I was like, hey, dude, why don't you do one? Look, a mace head. You could do it just like this. And I showed him all the pictures. I was like, aren't those beautiful? And he's like, well, they're kind of boring. I was like, no,
wait,
no,
what's
no,
a
no, no.
mace head?
It's an axe head made of stone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But
Trying to
they're
get out of the
just so
sun.
beautiful in form, and they use all different kinds of stone. So, and these pieces that Peter has are small, but he's
Mhm.
never gonna listen to me. It's not something he does.
It's not something he does.
No,
Oh my
he's
God.
gonna do what he wants to do. Probably another lady torso.
Another lady torso.
Right?
Those men.
Those men with their
The
lady torsos.
torsos.
I stole one and stuck her in my bedroom so she could hold the mirror on my dresser up. Nothing else in the house was heavy enough. And I was like, ooh, here's a sketch to do it for me.
This lady torso was made for this job.
Yeah, let's shove her up there and put some necklaces on her.
Okay, so Dana listened to a YouTube. I listened to a great Hooked on Pop podcast this morning that actually made me think of Kate, because the Red Hot Chili Peppers are in the Billboard Top 100 this week.
What? They're still around?
They're still around. They have their original guitarist back, who sounds awesome on this track. And but it is the weirdest song. It starts out with their singer, whose name I'm forgetting.
Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah, Anthony Kiedis, singing in like an Irish accent, as if he's
What?
like singing like
What?
a sea shanty. It's this like really slow thing. And then it turns into kind of a more traditional, I would say kind of more on the pop side for a Chili Pepper song. But it's kind of loosely about global warming.
Interesting.
It has a platypus in it as one of the lyrics.
Oh,
Aw.
So
that's
everybody can go
the-
listen to the
Okay.
Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Red Hot Platypus.
Red
Platypi.
Hot Platypus, yeah.
I didn't think they were together anymore. I had no idea.
Maybe they, I mean, it's probably they floated up. I'm sure those guys have made enough money that they float apart and then, come back together to make an album or whatever.
True.
But-
True. I only recently discovered that Flea was Australian. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not know that. But it makes a lot of sense now.
I know that guy's so crazy. I mean,
He is
like when
fucking
you
crazy.
find out he's Australian, you're like, oh,
Oh yeah.
of course.
Why didn't I know that?
Yeah, because of course that's the accent that's coming out of somebody who looks like that. Does he own a shirt?
I don't know. That's a good question.
The only
That's a-
shirt.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, the
Oh, now
last
I
time
need
I
to-
saw him recently on maybe a talk show kind of thing, he had bright turquoise hair
Ooh.
and he was looking worse for the wear. And
Yeah. I didn't even know if he had any hair anymore. Last time I saw him, it was all gone. So I guess he just shaved it. Wow.
I'm pretty sure that was Flea. I don't know.
It doesn't surprise me if he looks worse for wear though, because those Australians just
He looks
bake
pretty
themselves.
craggy.
Is he craggy? He's been out in the
Pretty,
sun.
pretty deep crags in that.
Craggy.
Put on some sunscreen and a hat.
Oh, too late.
I know, right?
Too late.
But we were talking about some of Peter's old friends. This guy, his name was Don Meldrum. But when I met Don and I went to visit them in Australia, went to visit Peter, Don was married at this time to this woman, perfectly Australian woman so we would have all been in our late 20s, early 30s. And this chick looked like a leather handbag, like full on. like, and I just remember thinking, first of all, wow, I must look really pale. And second of all, Jesus, Mary Joseph, this is not going to do well. And
Uh-huh.
guess, and her name was so perfectly Australian. Are you guys ready? Her name was Sylvia Wallace Winkle.
I was going to say Prudence.
Name is Wallace Winkle, first of all. Yeah.
Wallace
I mean,
Winkle.
I'm like wondering, like, was the Wallace clan upset with her great great grandfather? I don't understand. Was it once a German name and a Scottish
Wait,
name?
so it wasn't hyphenated.
No, it was
Wallace
Wallace Winkle all jammed together.
That could have happened like somewhere in the transcript on the prison ship.
That's what I was wondering. I just thought that it was, I've never forgotten her, and God love her. I hope that she's managed to keep her skin supple. Yeah, so Australian.
That's
Okay.
funny. Yeah, I wonder what that name means.
I don't know. That's a very good question.
I think it might be somebody put you know, the on the prison ship, as you said, Astrid, like Wallace was one name and Winkle was the next line, but they fucked it up and you know,
Oh yeah.
Wallace Winkle.
Yeah, Wallace Winkle.
I just
All
like
one
to
word.
say that every now and then. It's just because it's fucking funny.
That is really funny.
Okay, well, I'm
Wallace,
feeling-
like was it the Scottish Wallace with?
It was spelled Wallace Winkle, like Lace. Do you not see it, or are you looking it up?
I'm totally looking it up
Did you
because I'm
find a Wallace
so
Winkle?
no. There's no Wallace Winkles that I can find.
Is there a Sylvia Wallace Winkle?
maybe if you went onto Facebook, you could find it.
I wonder. Well, I know Don's on there, but Don's now married to a Chilean woman. So I don't think he and Sylvia Wallace Winkle care about each other anymore.
Aw, Sylvia Wallace Winkle.
Sylvia's jewelry, Sylvia Plath. Let's see, is it spelled Wallace like that? It came out Sylvia Wallace Wanker. Oh my God, I love you, Google. Okay, let's see. Nope.
Well, I mean,
Right.
there is a non-hyphenated name, Wallace Winkle, that comes up. which
Yeah,
I
she
think
said
is
it's non-hyphenated.
Is her
Oh,
name
it was-
Sylvia?
Oh no, did you say it wasn't? I mean, but you said it was all
It
one
was-
word, right?
Yeah, that was how I had seen her name written, was all one word.
Yeah.
Oh, so the one
I'm
that comes
finding-
up is hyphenated.
I'm finding some Wallace Winkles that are just like double, like there's a Joe Catherine Wallace Winkle, age 85 of Malvern.
Oh,
Which
that
I-
was my next question. Are they Australian?
Malvern.
I'm not sure where she was from in Australia,
No,
but that's fun. Joe Catherine Wallace Winkle. That's a
Yeah.
lot of name.
that's a lot of name.
Yeah. I love your Google skills. Tell us more, Astrid.
I don't know.
We just sit here and wait. for Astrid to
Sadly,
tell
sadly,
us.
there's nothing else going on here. with Sylvia Wallace Winkle. So sad.
I
So sad.
know.
Yeah.
Imagine being a little girl with that name.
Hmm.
Although I mean, there's some stupid ass names in the world, right? Like, I had a former colleague who was married to a Brady. I'm like, really?
What?
Like, your last name is Brady? You're gonna
Your parents are gonna name you Brady?
Brady? It's like, that's just
That's so
cruel.
terrible. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. It seems like there would have been an argument about
Yeah.
that.
You think.
Yes. Yeah, you think.
Yeah. Let's just call him Brad. Brad Brady.
Brad Brady.
Oh
Brady Brady. Yeah. Anyway,
That's sad.
he was a
I know.
statistician.
I can't think of anybody else that's nobody. Sylvia just is like the umbrella of crazy names in my life. I don't know. What, you got one, Laurel? Anybody from your
Sylvia?
childhood that had a nutty last name?
I don't remember a nutty last name, but I do remember there was a kid named Polly. And at some point we found out that her middle name was Esther. And
Oh,
that was
no.
probably in like
No.
3rd or 4th grade. Yeah. And her name was Polly Esther.
No.
That's got it. Was her father was a scientist,
A
surely.
DuPont.
I mean,
Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, everybody kind of, I mean, of course, I always got teased for my name as Laurel and Hardy. Like that was the
Oh.
kids, like that was the, you
Hmm.
know, hey, I'm Laurel, where's Hardy? Like that was the big joke in
Uh,
third grade.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I remember polyester when that
Polyester,
was,
that's
I'm sure
special.
found out on some like class list or something. And
Hmm.
everybody-
Yeah,
But,
that makes you wonder what the parents were thinking.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually really impressed at my mother's level of creativity in calling me Dana, because there were no other Danas when I was little.
Mhm.
And definitely I had a lot of, are you Danish? I don't fucking know. I'm 6.
Are you Danish?
Right? What the fuck? Who's gonna ask a 6-year-old that?
Dana, are you Danish, Dana?
Huh.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
because by the time my class, I mean, I had girls named Dana in my elementary school.
Did
One or
you?
two, yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. Dana Gray, I remember, and I think there was one other Dana.
I didn't meet a Dana until I was in the 7th grade and we were riding horses together and she was Dana Stevenson.
Hmm.
But we didn't ever distinguish again. You know, we didn't like, I don't ever remember anybody calling her Dana S and me Dana G. I just
Mhm.
don't. It was just like Dana and you were like, what? But that was it. I mean, I didn't find any other Danas until I moved to the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's a West Coast name, isn't it? Although you grew up in the Midwest. So
Midwest, yeah.
yeah.
I don't
Astrid,
know.
did you ever hear the name Dana before you moved to America?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. It's not.
You know what? No, actually, I in Great Britain, as I come across it as a man's name.
Yeah. I knew
Mhm.
there were some guys named Dana.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if that was in the Danish context, but I never met anybody named Dana from Denmark. Did
I
you?
think that's
No?
just like being dumb. Like
Yeah, thank
Dana
you.
and Danish. I'm sorry. That's
Thank
like
you.
Dana is not a Danish name.
No,
Oh, yeah.
no Dane here.
No
Oh.
Dane there. Yeah, no, I'd never heard of that name. And of course, there's a gazillion Astrids in my
Right.
generation.
I was gonna say you've had a lot of Astrids
Yeah.
probably in your class. Do you have kids in your same class at school or?
No. Mm-mm. Yeah,
I
it's
think it's a
always
pretty cool name.
It's always fun to hear what association people have with my name.
Mm.
If they're older, you know, the associations are with the, you know, Astrid Peterson, who's the Beatles photographer, or Astrid Gilberto, the musician, right?
Mhm.
Or well, then there's like some minor European royals. And then in more recent years, of course, How to Train Your Dragon. There's a kick-ass character named Astrid, right? And then some other bizarre like television shows now have Astrids in them. It's like,
Oh yeah,
okay.
there is a new show that has an Astrid in it.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, like some 6 or 7-year-old goes, Astrid, that's so cool. I'm like, who are you and what are you watching on
what?
television?
It is a really cool name. Not
For
to,
me, it's Pippi.
is it?
Yes.
Pippi
Astrid
would be the
Lindgren.
first thing that I would
It's
think
the
of.
other,
Yeah.
It's the other
Right,
association.
Pippi Longstocking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can't
Astrid
help but
Lindgren.
think of Asterix, the cartoon, even though
Oh
I know
my
he's a short
God.
Gaulish guy.
Yes, and of course that was one of my nicknames, especially in
Really?
kindergarten. When yeah. I mean, I think I've mentioned this before. Cologne is now a majority minority city, and when I was growing up, there were just tons of kids of guest workers, like people who'd come in from Italy and Turkey and whatever to
Mhm.
work after World War II, and so there were plenty of like this little Italian boy in my class. He could not pronounce my name, so he started calling me Asterix, and it stuck.
Mhm.
So I've
How did
been
you feel about
Asterix.
that? Did
Oh,
you
I loved
mind?
it. Oh my God, are
Excellent.
you kidding me? No,
No,
I mean,
that's-
just the hilarity of being named after a very short statured Gaul, who's a cartoon character. Are you kidding me, Dana? What
No,
could be
I
better?
love that cartoon. I think it's fucking
Me
hilarious.
too.
I mean,
Me
God,
too. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Yeah.
just the names that they came up with are
Oh my
so
God,
clever. And,
so funny.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah.
and I'm going to root for the Gauls against the Romans anytime.
Anytime, right? That was
Yeah.
such a great underdog story. Are you kidding me? I mean,
Yeah.
I must have read all of those and like it was an integral part of my language education. I think I must have read Asterix and Obelix in German, of course, then in
Mhm.
Latin, because why
Mhm.
not? Like it was
We own those.
In
Peter,
I was gonna say it is like in every single
Spanish?
fucking language.
It
Yeah,
is,
I've seen
and it's
them in
actually a great way
Indonesian.
to learn
I've
a
seen them in
language.
Indonesian. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
oh,
sure.
that's
Yeah.
great. They're in Indonesian too.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah,
like
that
the-
was
like-
how Peter learned languages.
As is
He did the
Pippi.
same thing.
Pippi's
As
also
is
in
Pippi.
Indonesian, and Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Oh yeah.
Those were kind
Really?
of the books that, if you like back in the Suharto era, those were the ones that people would know from the West.
Wow.
Asterix.
Did anybody know?
Pippi and Little House on the Prairie.
That's
What
right
about
there, the
Walter
Western
Farley?
canon that's worth knowing.
Yep.
Yeah. Were there any Walter Farley books that you guys ever read? Those were the Black Beauty books, books about horses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, tons of
Not
those.
in other languages though.
Just English.
I don't
No,
think
I
I've
read them in
seen those in
German.
Indonesian.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay, well, I'm feeling 1,000% better than I was a half hour ago. Thank you.
Yay.
But shall we get going?
Sure. What the heck?
Oh.